Hello, this is Kurt Wallner. Today's chapter we're going to begin analyzing the north facade of the White House, the famous North Portico. Since the White House is one of our national symbols, anybody can make an effigy of it, from little tiny models to Christmas tree ornaments to, yes, sweet potatoes. The challenge that I face is that because I like to take out walls and things like that, how do I make my drawing of the White House appear like the north facade when some of it's missing? Irish-born architect James Hoban had designed the Charleston County Courthouse, completed in 1792. It is believed that George Washington admired the building during a visit to Charleston in 1791. It was Thomas Jefferson who insisted that the design for the president's house be selected from entrants in an architectural competition, a competition that Hoban won. He had an inside track, I think. His design, although it doesn't exist anymore, is believed to have looked, well, a lot like the Charleston County Courthouse. But Washington insisted that it be even larger, 90 by 170 feet, making it the largest house in America at the time. They sunk the basement into the ground so that you only see 2 stories from the north. And oh yes, a front door would be good, yeah. So join me as we try and capture the essence of this iconic building. So the White House is occupied by John Adams in 1800, and during Jefferson's administration, he felt that the place would look better with a portico. Big fan of porticos was he, and he had various people work on plans, but it wasn't until the Madison administration that they began to build the thing, and they completed it in 1830. It's the North Portico that gives the White House its idealized and romantic setting, and that's what I'm trying to capture in my sketch here. How to view the thing from the north, or from the south, or from the west, or from the east. This is what I have to figure out in my sketches. I like this last one best, and in moving on to drawing the grid for this pose, you need to bear in mind that the bottom of the entablature of the building is going to ride on the horizon line, and everything else kind of bicycles around that. So I make my usual grid of the parts of the building that I want to draw, and then get started on making the grid, the perspectivized grid that allows me to put everything together. Instead of taking my grid down to the blow-up place for an enlargement, I've decided to hand draw it. Because it's fairly simple, it's just a big facade of the White House with the portico coming out from it and the rooms that I want to tear into. Now with a blank piece of paper on top, we sketch in the floor outline. Now you know that the next step is to extrude the walls. Draw up from the floor plan the walls and where the windows go. This is because I get work from the back to the front. So the back is the facade, and that goes in first. Here are the north facade windows that I'm concerned with that are divvied up in my usual division pattern. So what I have to do is divide the walls into a similar banding like this, and then that will tell me the heights of the sills and the headers of each opening. By the time I'm finished, I ought to have something that kind of looks like the White House. It might not look like the White House to you yet, but it does to me. I know what to do with all those window openings. The next thing we need to do is to extrude the columns that are in front of it and figure out how many of them to eliminate and how to break them up. So I've skipped ahead and put in the pedestals, I guess you would call them, for all of the columns that surround the portico. And now we need to do the death-defying act of drawing the columns in, top to bottom. It's very exacting work because one little error and you're a dead man. Complicating matters is the fact that the columns in the back need to be ever so much thinner than the columns in the front, and then the fact that the columns aren't placed evenly. They are asymmetrically spaced because the columns toward the front are further apart in order to be able to make it a porte cochere, which is where you drive your carriage or car or what have you underneath the porch. Okay, enough of the columns. Now we go on to drawing in the windows. The windows are a great subject. They're kind of elaborate and they have a lot of indentations and things that need to be paid attention to, and I just love banging all these out. Same thing with the upper windows. They're not as elaborate, but they're still quite large and easy to mess up. The same goes for the front door. Fantasia of stonework and flowers and detail, and I just love it, but it's such a small space that I have to cram everything into. I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get it all as much detail as I want to, but maybe I'll do that later. Okay, now the whole thing is beginning to look kind of White House-like. All of the window frames and the door, but it's still missing its entablature, and for that we have to go to the blueprints and break it down. So I haul up the Library of Congress blueprints, and I get myself the elevation of the entablature, and then I divide that into 4s. And you can see from the top of the balustrade to the bottom of the entablature, I want to divide that up into 4 pieces. And you can see that it divides pretty evenly. So that will help make things go easier. I get onto the paper, and using the grid from the original thing, we divide that up into 4 and then draw the entablature and the balustrade in accordingly. It takes a long time because I have to count up all the dentils and make sure that they're all there, and I have to make sure that all of the turns in the balustrades are correct. Because the Historic American Building Survey has pictures of the first floor elevator hall, the mezzanine elevator hall, and the second floor elevator hall, I have everything that I need in order to be able to draw the stairwell in. I'm getting the number of steps from the floor plans and the ambiance of the rooms from the photos, but this is a very, very challenging thing that I want to put into the drawing. The last thing that I ever do in all of these drawings is to do the landscaping, attaching the building to the ground, and I have lots and lots and lots of pictures, and the blueprints show me where all of the tile squares are and everything, and it's really time consuming, but it is so necessary to ground the building so that it's not floating around in the air. Yeah, that's beginning to look good. Alright, on our next chapter we're going to ink and color in this piece, and we'll see if we can make it look like the White House, only in color. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to the channel if you would. Thanks for your attention. Until next time, bye-bye.